Mr. Van Ojik, thank you very much for participating. And so our question to you, how do you see discussion on Nord Stream 2 progressing in Dutch Parliament, in Dutch government, and where do you think it is going?
Well, there is indeed some progress, I think, because for a long time a project like Nord Stream was considered to be a private sector project where politics had nothing to do with. And since about 2 years that is slightly changing, and we try to convince the government by passing motions in Parliament and asking questions that there are very big geopolitical implications, for example, by the construction of a Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And that awareness also on a European level is now growing. And we will continue the discussion to see if we can set certain conditions to Nord Stream and give a political steering to that.
If I may follow up, can you elaborate a little bit what do you mean by implications, risks of Nord Stream 2 and how exactly can they be addressed, if at all?
Yeah, for example, it will make us more dependent on the Kremlin, on Mr. Putin. It make us more dependent on gas while we are in a process of moving towards renewable energy consumption. It can have huge implications for a country like Ukraine, which will be not any longer necessary when Nord Stream is there as a country of transportation. So there are also for the European on the European playing field there can be huge geopolitical implications.
So very last question: do you think there should be more discussion in the Parliament, or a proper bigger study with more detailed nuance on geopolitics, economics, maybe even a proper analysis of how it can influence Dutch consumers, or a combination of things?
Yeah, I think we have to discuss how we can more diversify the supply of gas, because it's important not to be too much dependent on one specific country, especially when it is Russia and Putin. Secondly, I think it is very important that we are going to control from Parliament if the conditions set to a project like Nord Stream on transparency, on access to different players, etc., are really met. I think I'm very doubtful if that will happen, and if that not will happen, we have to be very strict and say this is against the regulations we have set.
This is much appreciated.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure.